pop-up, and we really need to check in and figure out what the heck is going on in the stars. Do you remember? Let me turn this light on. It's getting dark. Do you remember an astrologer named Daryl Martini?
No,
He was the Cosmic Muffin. They called him the Cosmic Muffin. WBCN Boston.
that I've heard of.
I grew up with him. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I grew up. Now that I'm thinking about it, I grew up listening to astrology, and he would say, "It's a wise person who rules the stars. It's a fool who's ruled by them." Do you kind of like
There's
adhere to that?
another saying Sydney Omar used to say, "The stars impel, they do not compel."
I like it. I like it.
Mhm.
And we choose our fate, right? We choose what our destiny will be, right? Jules at Rafter is a Bostonian. I know you mentioned that you were at Life Alive in Boston when I was in Salem on I think it was Tuesday. So I can see the chat. I usually can't see the chat very well when we're doing a dual thing. Um, Everybody wants to know what's up. I know we're at the beginning of this full moon, but first let us know how you're doing. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health in a certain way. So,
Mostly surprisingly good. I've been strangely calm since reality shifted in a different way, and I wasn't the last time this happened, so I think there's something to that. I've also been, making myself watch Christmas movies. I've been doing goofy things. I've been going out with friends and doing stuff, seeing people in person. How's that for a concept? And also talking on the phone to a lot of people, you included. We've
yeah,
historically
we've
just
been,
texted, but we're
yeah,
talking on the phone now. So yes, it's understanding. A lot of people are deeply disturbed, but please, I want to tell you that there is an inexplicably large group, mostly women, of people who have inexplicable calm and certainty about this situation for what it's
yeah,
worth. So,
yeah, yeah, that's true.
and when I talk about the astrology of this week, you may at first go, ah, but then feel a little better. Oh, Jeff in Scotland, hello.
Hi, Scotland. Good to see you. Were we talking about Scotland last night? Yes,
We
we
were talking
were.
about Ireland last night, but Scotland will do just fine.
We were talking about Scotland in terms of how much they hate Trump.
Oh, we were. Yeah, I think he's banned.
Do you know Jeff in Scotland? Give us some insight if you have some insight about how Scotland feels about Donald Trump. I don't pick up any favorability there. Oh,
I think he's got tax problems there. But so
yeah.
what I want to say is don't stifle your emotions, feel them, and do really nice things for yourself. I mean, the sun is still coming up. I've been going to the gym, I've been working out. I start every morning sitting quietly for a little while and then letting things letting things just fall into my head about, okay, today, this is what's most important. One, two, three. Day by day
Okay.
by day, because
Yeah.
weirdly, we're going to simultaneously have uh like inching forward and incredible activity. So it's going to be quite a paradox in the next few weeks.
Yeah. Well, that's really very cool. Hang on one second. I need to get rid of the. If we have too many trolls, I'm gonna have to just shut off the comments.
Do we have a wrench?
Yeah. So let's. I need to deal with this. I apologize. We're hiding all the chat messages because it's just way too distracting. So we're just gonna go with the show. We're gonna have a conversation. I think it's really even
Oh,
a more
I see a
focused
wrench. I see a
conversation.
wrench.
Yeah, but I think
Anyway,
it's
okay,
better
so
to.
while we're dealing with this, I'll just let everyone know I have my comfort dragon, which you may, I have an anxiety doll, but it gives people anxiety, apparently. So I didn't bring her. I have my comfort dragon. You may you may use my comfort dragon.
Okay, virtual hug with the comfort dragon. You this the stress doll. What was her name? I didn't think she was scary.
No, but there were people who were freaked out when I brought her up, so I have an anxiety doll. You give it to her and she hangs on to it.
I have a stuffed dog called Trouble the dog that you hold on to. A friend of mine in Marblehead, Mass, makes them to bring comfort to children that are in traumatic situations. Trouble the dog. So you tell Trouble your troubles. And I mean, I'm an adult, but it works for me. So there are things that we can do to bring ourselves back, and it's a lot easier if you were already in that habit. I spend every morning in nature in some way, just about every single morning. If weather doesn't really permit it, I usually skip it. A meditation practice is extremely important. If you have no idea what that is or how to do a meditation practice, then just I suggest to just start with sitting yourself down and taking really long, slow, deep breaths in. Hold it at the top of the inhalation and a longer breath out. That's scientifically proven to lower the cortisol level. And another technique that I really have found is very powerful with people is to say, I'm not in an emergency. I'm not in an emergency. In this moment, I am not in an emergency, because your body will be and your brain will be behaving as if you are, because we're being triggered all over the place. And I really feel like it's not just from this lifetime experiences that are happening. I think our past lifetimes are being triggered too. Do you agree with that?
That would fit some of the astrology as well.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So,
Mhm.
on the heels of the beginning of this full moon, which I'm looking at my calendar just for timing wise, is
Some
tomorrow.
Friday.
Tomorrow, right around this time, in about 24 hours, we have a full moon in Taurus. For anybody who is just showing up, I have the chat off because we had some trolls and it was highly distracting. So sorry about that. You can talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, chat's
So,
still going on.
oh, you can
I'm
see it. I shut it off on my end.
Yeah, I
So
can see it. That's all right.
yeah, I
The
couldn't
wrench people are
focus.
are dealing with it.
Okay, I may turn it back on. We'll see. We don't want to spend the whole show doing whack-a-troll. So, tell us about this full moon.
This full moon is one of 3 really big things happening between now and the middle of next week. And it is okay, full moons always culminate, they always bring things to a head. And this one is in the sign that deals with what we value: women, money,
Mm.
food,
Oh
resources,
wow.
banks, and it's conjunct Uranus, which is the planet of sudden change.
Mhm.
So Taurus likes things to stay put. Uranus says, ha ha. And this
Wow.
one is this is going to be bringing a lot of things to a head for a lot of people, and giving you sudden illumination, like somebody suddenly turns the light switch on and you go, I didn't see that. You could find a lightning bolt or a shock hitting your metaphoric wrist and making you let go of something. A lot of things are
Mm.
going to break. A lot of things are going to break open. Terrific volatility. Yes, it's a supermoon. I don't know anything about the solar flares. Um,
What about a supermoon?
Someone asked, is it a supermoon? So it's really, really
Oh.
close to Earth. All right. So it might look huge. I don't know. But important thing for you to know is Uranus, which deals with technology. It's the quick change artist of the zodiac, things coming very, very quickly. It's liberating. It makes you see things differently. It breaks things up. Later, you're freed up to do something else. It's not a gentle, easy influence. And so it's with this sign that likes to stay in one place. So there could be a lot of shocking news. Well, One Piece, the Onion, the parody newspaper, bought Alex Jones' InfoWars technology at suddenly huge amounts of money at auction. That's a really weird playing out of this, but there's going to be a whole lot more. And
Hmm.
the moon and Uranus are in an aspect with Neptune that will be like lightning piercing the fog, lightning piercing the clouds, getting through something and going, "Oh, is that really what has been going on here?" Dispelling things, maybe making it actually a little easier for whatever it is you're letting go of. Uranus is nearing the end of its time in the sign of Taurus, where it's been since 2019, and it's been
Right.
hovering around this location for a couple of months, and it will be there basically until sometime in March, April, a bit longer. So there is a long fuse, like wrapping up a whole lot of stuff involved with this. So thing one, highly volatile. People are on edge. Keep that in mind, please.
Yeah, it's really,
And,
really important.
you know,
I
like,
I do want to talk about that.
yeah, keep that in mind. Pick your battles and look at things and go, well, isn't that interesting? A really, really good approach, a good homing thought is show me another way to look at this.
Right.
Lots of things that seem to be givens are going to suddenly just, well, where did that come from? And whatever the playing field is right now, it will be very different in about a week because two other things are happening. So just know that's the first big piece. It is working. I know you wanted to ask about Matt Gates. It's working in, I don't have his birth time, but I have a solar chart. So like
Yeah, I think we've looked at him before, right? I think
right,
we.
and this is locking into his chart in a configuration called the finger of God, and it's pulling in power and money and deceit, and the finger of God is blowing up stuff that's been hidden in the background. So he's there. That's that.
Yeah. What's the finger of God in the astrology? Like, what is it? Is it a certain like configuration,
Yeah,
or
it's a
what is
certain
that?
configuration when two planets are in an opportunity aspect to each other, and they're both in an adjustment aspect to the same planet. The planet at the apex gets it all. So people are asking, what about the rest of the world? This is happening. Okay, the finger of God part is just for him. So just know that there's a bit of it's been coming, and other forces are now making sure some stuff comes out. This is not going to be an easy skate for him. So just know
Right.
that it's also blowing up Trump and Vance's charts. It's blowing up
Metaphorically
their,
speaking.
yeah, well, their public reputation. The last time that Uranus was at the top of Trump's chart was the shooting in Butler. So it's not just like easy
Wow.
peasy energy for
Right.
him. Um, the it's also uh, activating Kamala Harris's chart. It is activating Joe Biden's chart and pushing him toward whatever his destiny is with this country. It's happening on top of the sun of Israel. That's SUN. And I have no idea what that is going to bring. So just know that, um, Maria, I just answered. The finger of God affects Matt Gaetz by forcing a lot of stuff into the open that's been hidden about him. So
Okay.
So this is so there's going to be a lot of really volatile, fast-moving, whiplash-like developments on the world front, on the United States front, involving some pretty big political figures in this country, and it's affecting each one of us as well. So you might be thinking about there's a tie-in to this on August 19th as well. So you might think about how did your attitude towards life change August 19th? Did anything feel like, okay, now we're moving into a new phase? It did for a few million people in this country.
It
Did,
was hope. It was hopeful. We had our hope
yeah.
restored. Yeah.
So there's something with this that connects to that. Who knows what it will do because it is a waste of time to try to predict the specifics when Uranus is involved because it's monkey wrenches, plot twists, knocking things sideways, blowing things up. So who knows? So that's one big piece. It's happening to everybody. There's probably something in your life you will look at really differently after this and know that this is a cleaning up and saying okay, done moment in
And
your life.
when you say after this, are you referring to the full moon
Yes.
or just this full moon? And then you have all those other Uranus aspects. The reason I wanted to talk about how it's affecting people emotionally is um, I actually called Kathy a couple 3 hours ago, and I said, I don't really know what to do with this energy that I'm getting from people, and some of it's just directed at me. And I have tough skin, so I can take it. I think you have to during these times, and I think that's the lesson too. Um, People are lashing out because they're terrified. And so if somebody's lashing out at you, I would really just recommend to do take a deep breath and just that book, The Four Agreements? Yeah, grab your dragon. You know that book, The Four Agreements? Which I haven't read the whole thing in its entirety. It's not one of those books, but I did read some of it. And one of the agreements is to not take anything personally. And I think that's a wonderful sort of a creed for life because I mean, we do have to learn how to navigate through difficult emotions. And we do have to always learn because we have repeated lessons in this all the time that, mostly when people get like biting and nasty, it has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with who you are and what you've done. Or so often. So I think that we're going to be better if we're prepared, if we're mentally prepared. If somebody hears this conversation and goes, "Yeah, I remember Kathy and Net were talking about that," like how people are just really on edge and they're fearful, and especially with MAGA, the disillusionment that's coming there. It's like we're going to have a large segment of the population whose illusion is going to be cracked. And that, I don't know if you see anything astrologically about that, because we have talked
That
about
fits what I'm
Neptune.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah, because we've talked about Neptune and the cosmic fog.
And the
Like I
yeah,
think
lightning
over the
going through it.
summer, we were talking about over the summer that the cosmic fog was going to clear.
Mhm.
And when it hasn't cleared yet, but it's about to clear, that's a very disturbing time, I think. You know,
But just know that there's a lot of anxiety running around. It's like electricity could be running through your body. And there's an element of, these emotions have been building and building and building and building and building. And it's a release point.
yeah,
So, if you want to go outside and scream, that might be good. Uh, but
depends on
but
who's around.
yeah, right. If no one's around. Right, 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 right. But okay, so no, this has really good possibilities with it as well, okay? Because you can just get rid of something energetically very quickly with this.
So
And we're already feeling it, all right? Warren, it's at 24 degrees Taurus. You asked about where. And if you know your chart, look at where 24, 25, 26 degrees Taurus is in your chart. Uranus is at 26, sun and moon, the moon's at 24. Um,
and I don't
so
know. I wanted to say one more thing, and that's like I don't know who needs to hear this, but telling right now, I'm finding, and I think that this is like an astrological thing that's happening. If you tell somebody it's going to be okay, if you tell somebody visualize it the way you want it, you will get a backlash. I promise you. It depends on who you're talking to.
I'm going to suggest mind your own business these right now. All right. Just,
Well, I just mean in
I don't mean to
conversations
you,
with
I mean
you.
to everybody.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean in conversations that people are having with other people, some people don't. Some people. This is hard to describe, but some people are just really agitated
yeah, that fits
about
this.
what's gone on, in our country, and that anger tends to play out sometimes this way, where you tell them we have power or we have dominion over this situation energetically with our thoughts, and they don't want to hear it. And there's an inner saboteur kind of an energy at work there. And I just want to, sorry, I'm going on about it, but it just feels important. I just want, I want to point out that some people don't want it to be good. They can't fathom it. And we have to kind of be able to be ready for that too. Is some people will get mad at you for suggesting that you have the power within you and we have the power within us collectively to change this whole trajectory. So I just needed to say that. I don't know who it's for, maybe just for me, but
Well, there is something very illuminating that will be coming. Something that is coming, that's already happening. Revelatory, revealing, awakening, aha moments, epiphanies, and who knows?
people
Again,
respond to different ways to changing circumstances.
right, right. So, uh, oh, Maria, you need to delete it. I'll send you information. Installing X icon is not enough. You need to delete it. I'll send you information about how to do it. Um, so there are two other really big things happening, and one of them happens on the full moon, which means it's going to be an undercurrent, and it is the opposite in impact. The full moon shakes things up, blows things up, ends things. The undercurrent is stabilizing. The undercurrent is the planet Saturn, the planet of adulting, the planet of responsibility and order and commitment. And it moves very, very slowly. And it has been retrograde for a while now. And it's been sitting at the degree of its retrograde station since early October. And at the full moon, it stations direct, meaning that it
Oh,
very,
that's right.
very slowly moves around. And it's going to spend the rest of the year at this degree, like inching and inching and inching and inching. So you will feel some things very slowly starting to stabilize within you, believe it or not, and getting a sense of, okay, I have some dominion here. Here's what I have control over. Here's what I can exercise. Here's progress. There's something happening that has the potential to contain the insanity. And just know, put it in the back of your head. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about it today. We'll talk about it more later. But know that very slowly, this is inching toward stability at Christmas.
Whatever.
Stability. Now you're going to
Christmas
go, oh, it's so
presents.
far away. Hey, wait a minute. Just notice right now, there will be things blowing open, and then you will have the latitude to start to inch forward. And if you know your chart, this is happening at 13 degrees of Pisces.
The Saturn
Yeah, yeah.
things. Wait, wasn't Saturn was in Pisces, right? So that's
Saturn
not
Saturn's in
okay.
Pisces, and so it stations direct at this highly volatile uh, full moon. And so, one way of looking at this is the full moon breaks up stuff, ends things so that we can start at the same time that we start moving. So, there are some things that are not going to come along for the ride, and that may be some in you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
There might be some parts of you, some parts of your life that you just let go of and stop worrying about so that you can start to float forward.
Like
Oh,
what I was just talking about, like resist the idea that a good thing can't happen.
well, the progress is coming. There's going to be movement, there'll be
Yeah,
progress and you have an opportunity to start to get somewhere from being an adult in the
yeah.
situation.
So let's
Okay.
all desire that. I really want to speak to that. I feel really strongly about it. Let's all desire for stability. Let's all desire for things to change for the highest good of everybody. Let's all just really bring that desire energy up. We want a strong democracy. Let's just be clear about that. I've been hearing so much that's opposed to that. And
Well,
Saturn goes
okay.
into goes direct the same time that the full moon hits. Looks like.
Yeah. So another way to look at this is Saturn is authority, Saturn is accountability. It's in the sign that deals with how we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
Something is going to start stabilizing our society,
What do you think?
stabilizing it. Now, it could go any number of ways. I have my theories as to where it's heading.
Oh, we want to hear your
But
theories.
no, no,
Bring it on.
no, 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 no. So
Now you're not going to share your theories?
no, no, I'm
Why
not.
not?
I'm just I just want because I want to make this much more about people. I want you to think of the amount of energy you have been dumping into outside dramas for years now. Years.
A long time.
How much time have you been spending worrying about fighting against certain crazy person, certain elements, upending all of life? There are a few things that you really outside of you that you cannot directly control, but you sure can focus on yourself. And I have been saying for years, as more and more little pockets of reality get their little pockets tidied up and in order and start radiating a tiny bit of joy and light, they're going to just start spreading and spreading and spreading and spreading and spreading.
Especially when we focus on that.
Yeah, which leads to the third big thing that's happening. So, big changes, unexpected stuff, huge amounts of drama, lots of monkeys, lots of circuses. You don't have to. You can just watch. You don't
That's
even
for
have to watch.
sure.
You can walk out of it. Like, for right now, I'm taking a breather from this. Uh, the feeling, a very slow feeling of it may take a while, but I can sense positive forward motion. Next week, the third big thing happens, and it involves Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius. Pluto has a lot to do with how we experience and express power. And it has a very long orbit. It takes about 254 years to go through signs. We have
That's
had Yeah,
huge.
so the last time it was
That's
there was during
huge.
French Revolution, American Revolution,
It's
Industrial
just,
Revolution.
can I just say, so huge. I've been obsessed with Joan of Arc. So
Oh,
that's probably why it's that kind of energy.
that's that
Um,
kind of energy, right? So,
wow,
um,
it's big.
at any rate, we've had a Pluto since 2008 has been in an institutional top heavy form. It's been in the sign of Capricorn and it's been plowing through our institutions, governments, big corporations, families, like where you find your intra structure. There is a troll, Lauren, how where you post your infrastructure. Um, and where your feet are on the ground and showing where there is rotten corruption and the US Pluto is in Capricorn, so we it's been accelerating. We're seeing that all institutions are up for attack and renegotiation, and we will now find a different way of being. We have experienced a, a tiny foretaste, the tiny tastes of what Pluto and Capricorn in Aquarius is about. Last year, from I think it was March 23rd to June 10. This year, from January 20th to September 1. Pluto was at the doorway to to Aquarius, just
Yeah.
giving us a little glimpse. And this is a more across the board energy. This is more grassroots. This is more individual power. It's more communities banding together. It's something having to do with networks. It's also having the power move to electronics. It's having the power move to the tech bros. The whole Silicon Valley ascendancy is a piece of it right now. Um,
Mhm.
so think of what you started to feel would be different in those time periods.
Well, when were they when it was in Aquarius?
Late March to early June last year,
What was going on?
January 20th to beginning of September this year.
Was
One,
something pivotal that happened during those months? I'm trying to
well,
remember. I mean, so much has happened.
it's really more for everybody, like what you start to feel like something's going to be different. Like I can sort of sense it, but can't quite tell. um, grassroots communicating is a huge factor of it. And the best example, and I don't bring this up for the political component, up for the energetic component. On July 21st, there was a Capricorn full moon at the very last degree of Capricorn, which is where Pluto has been this fall,
Yeah.
conjunct Pluto at the very first degree of Aquarius. And that was the day that Biden, old power, handed the torch over to Kamala,
Right.
new power, and Mars, which is energy, action in the communication sign, was in an unbroken flow to Pluto
Right.
and Aquarius at that moment. And the phenomenon of Zoom campaign meetings, unprecedented. Zoom, huge numbers of people, and just kept going and going and going and going and going. That is one potential of Pluto in Aquarius.
Right.
So next week, this planet that has to do with how power is allocated and expressed moves into Aquarius until beginning of 2044. So the old way, we're not going to go back and revisit
We're not
Pluto
going back.
Pluto ripping up
It fits.
oh man, I'm sorry, I'm making a mistake of looking at the chat. Uh
That's why mine
fine.
is off. I can't focus with
Yeah,
it
my
on.
goodness. Um so um things are evolving, even if it looks right now like the old Pluto in Capricorn. All we used to call them plutocrats. I think oligarch is a better word for it now. But the
Yeah.
big, huge corporate interests, the big old guard, really, really clinging for dear life. But that's not the wave of the future. So ultimately, we will move into something ultimately that's going to be much more across the board. I should warn, I mean, Pluto moving in Aquarius is not sunshine and lollipops. Uh, Aquarius can be really cold. There can be a I know better than you, I'm going to dominate all of reality vibe to it. And we have choices to be made. However, we saw immediately what the potential was in July. And that's what I'm gravitating toward. How many people lately have gotten in touch with someone and said, "Okay, what are we gonna do if dot, dot, dot?" Coalitions forming, people forming, plans forming, mutual aid groups forming.
Now, you mean?
Yeah, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing a lot of it. So,
I haven't seen it yet.
I've been seeing it, and huge shifts in how people are using social media, electronics, how they're using the internet, mass exodus from Twitter. Suddenly, people are flooding an app called Blue Sky because Meta, which owns Facebook, has been flooding Instagram was just sweet little pictures for a long time. And now they're flooding that with ads
Right.
and
Right. Right.
so people went over to Threads, which was like
It didn't get a thread
non-threatening.
going. It really just
It,
didn't.
well, no, filled with witches. Threads has been filled with independent authors. Threads has been
Oh,
filled
I
with
haven't gone
people
there for a
making.
long time. I have an account, but I haven't checked it in a long
Oh no,
time.
no. But Threads is about to get flooded with ads. So now people are moving to Blue Sky. Who knows? There are a lot more shifts coming next year, but this is the first really big, big societal move. Now, what you want to know is the last two times that the first two times that Pluto moved into Aquarius, within days, truly horrible things happened to Donald Trump. All right,
Yeah.
big money things happen. I think the New York prosecution was filed. There was something also with might have been a judgment in at any rate, just know
Yeah, probably.
that
That
if
was
you
the
just
first
play
thing.
connect the dots, this means it's not So for what everyone's concerned about, it's not smooth sailing to January 20th. Okay. Nothing is necessarily at all what it seems right now. And it is a very, very rocky road with a lot of chaos and a lot of plot twists. And we're at a turning point with a tremendous number of plot twists right now. So I encourage you to not attach to anything at this moment that's going on out in the world. Put your focus on getting your own life in order because we are at a moment and it's going to start to change character of opportunity to wrap up years of processes all simultaneously
Mhm.
and clean a lot of stuff up and move into a different way of experiencing this world. The metaphor I've been using has been think of it as if you're about to move to college and you're trying to figure out what you're going to take with you, and then you find out that your house isn't going to be there anymore, so you can't just leave a bunch of stuff behind. You have to really decide. And in the last week I have updated that analogy to you're about to get on a spaceship and you're not coming back.
You can see
So
how that wouldn't sound reassuring to some people.
but the immediacy of it is okay. Here's another one. I have worked with, as an attorney, a lot of people who got really frightening, dire medical analysis. I did a lot of work for people with AIDS in the 90s,
Mhm.
and I observed that once reality hit them, once they got this news, they were effortlessly clear about what they wanted to do. Suddenly stuff that they'd been messing around with, they knew what they were going to do, what they weren't going to do. There was an efficiency and an accelerated schedule. And I've been doing that in my own life. I've been taking care of stuff that I've been just dithering about for actually years.
Mhm.
And it's not out of fear. It's more like, I really need to do this. Choo, choo, choo. So there will be things in your own life that are like that, and this is next year. Everybody's going to be wildly different. We are moving from mud, water, fog, mud, earth, to fire and air. There's going to be a shift of the outer planets into a combined configuration we have never lived through. An astrologer, a colleague of mine, has looked back and he thinks it hasn't happened for 8,000 years. And it will just going to be wildly, wildly different and self actualizing and self determining in a way that we haven't been. And this week, this time, is really important. So if there's stuff that you've been kind of dithering about, you'll know, like, okay, that is not important to me, or oh, I really want to do X. And you'll do it. Okay, fill in the blank. I'll use that instead. Excuse me. X is for the moment, X is something we don't want to say much.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So I've been going on a long time here, but is the point is um anything could happen in the next week. Seriously. I mean, if you stop and you think about some of the things you have witnessed in the news in the past 3 weeks, would you ever in your wildest dreams have had them cross your mind? No. So, even crazier stuff is going to be going on out there. Do not attach to it. Pay attention to your own life, just like it's a reality TV show, and I have a pretty strong feeling that the channel will change by Christmas. So it's the most pointed thing I'll say about that.
I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about if somebody leaned more towards the negative, um, because I think we all are like either more optimistic or a little more pessimistic, right? I think we all kind of I consider myself optimistic and some people are just not. So what you're saying could be interpreted as something a bit too drastic.
These are really intense times.
Yeah, so
Okay?
when you're saying about packing up, making sure all your affairs are in order, right? You're going to be moving to a new place, metaphorically speaking, or maybe literally, and people are worried that they're going to be deported, and people are worried that they'll
Now,
have to
I
flee the
honestly don't think
country,
that
and
is I don't think
that's
that
the
is
only
what
reason I'm bringing it up is
yeah, people
because
are
that
scared.
that could be interpreted as the end of the world as you know it, right? And so, and I am fully aware, and you are too, working with people for 60 years collectively, me and you're very aware that people don't like change. And so we're talking about massive amounts of change into territory that we have no idea what's going to happen. And my experience with working with others, and I think it's kind of human nature, but some are more resilient than others, is that that's the thing that people in general fear the most is drastic change. And it sounds like what you're saying is drastic change is coming. That like with Pluto and Aquarius. So I just want to make sure that people don't get into a place of, oh my God, I can't handle that. Like a lot of people that have PTSD cannot really be comfortable naturally with everything's going to change. So I really want to make sure
Well,
that we're
it's
reassuring people
going
if
to
we can.
be it's going to be empowering ultimately. And remember, homing thought, show me another way to look at this. Uranus is in charge of this party. Uranus is conjunct the moon. Uranus rules Aquarius, where Pluto is going. And it shows you things differently. It liberates you. And often you go, wow, I had no idea that I was so trapped or hindered or that I actually was imprisoned. And now I feel free. There can be something incredibly liberating and energizing in this. And if you look at it as empowering and ultimately empowering the masses, empowering individuals so that we're not at the mercy of others.
And that is what you're saying right now is the reason that I have been harping away and people have been resisting this. At we have to collectively imagine the future that we're creating. And it just kind of boggles my brain that I'm getting a lot of pushback on that discussion because what you're saying is pretty much get ready in that way, decide how it's going to be and how we want it to be. What kind of country do we want to live in? If we don't want to be under a fascist regime, then understanding that thoughts create reality, that's scientific. It's critically important that no matter how difficult it is, I feel, and nobody has to do anything that I say, but I'm just bringing this up because we are in this really, really tense. It's probably the most tense in my life that I've ever felt. And it really brings back memories of 9/11 in terms of how it's feeling internally, especially the next day after the election, that we have been attacked and we're all working on processing that. So I know it's a stretch, but just talking to Kathy about what the energy is that's going on right now. Change is, you hear it all the time. The only constant is change. All you can really count on is, death and taxes, right? But the rest is all change. And my experience has been that most of us hate change. So, but when we decide, oh, change leads to better things, but it's a brain train. It is a brain, it's a really, we have to reprogram that change is a, think of a butterfly. I have a butterfly on my sleeve here, on my arm, right? Think of a butterfly, think of all the things that had to happen, all the Uranus stuff and the old structures crashing down. Think of all that had to happen before a new world could be birthed. And I just want to say one more thing about that. It's very clear to me that all the evil monster people are all up on a huge. They're sitting ducks for whatever's coming at them because they've committed so many crimes overtly, and something is definitely gonna drop on them. Okay, I'm done with my little
All
spiel.
right. I can bring this closer to home.
Okay.
There are tiny things you can do on a daily basis that can help create the kind of world you want to be in.
What kind of word too?
Yeah, I forgot to turn notifications
No,
off,
I
so I
like
have
word. I like the
yeah.
kind of words that, that's good
So
little slip there.
here is an example for you. Two examples. I have made a point this week to do really frivolous, wonderful things with a group of friends. I went to the Bronx. I went to Arthur Avenue, the old Italian neighborhood, hadn't been there for 20 years, had a ridiculously overpriced meal. And then we went to the New York Botanical Gardens and wandered through a gigantic light display based on Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. And it took a really long time to walk, and people were singing songs
Yeah.
from the film and jumping in and trading off parts without talking about it. So it's like for
Yeah.
45 like for an hour, we were floating around in a world that we want to be in. Next
Yeah.
night, I went to a Christmas pop-up with a really dear friend and his 8-year-old daughter, and I'm normally really against decorating and celebrating Christmas early, but I've given up on this one. Like, no, no, if you want to go do something sparkly and celebratory, you go do it. So
Sparkle away.
we went to this pop-up, and again I said, this is the kind of world I want to be in. There's your homing. That you don't have to go sit and, yes, meditate the way you would love the
If
rest of
you
the
like,
world to
yeah,
be.
if you
But
like
if
that.
that feels like too much for you, go have little moments. Give yourself a break. Turn the news off. Do something with friends that makes you forget this idiocy that's going on, this parallel reality that is not matching what you want in your life. It's the last season of The Apprentice. Okay, look at it that
Ah,
way. All right. And so you
never
can
watched it.
you, you can oh, don't get me started.
Never watched it.
Anyway, so you can start to have little pieces of experiencing this is the kind of interaction I want with my fellow humans. And just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Someone's saying it's too soon. Oh, no, 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 no.
Too
Sorry.
soon for what?
I guess Christmas, but you know what? I'm giving everybody a pass. Okay. If this is what you want, do it.
I mean, in the
Uh,
wintertime after Christmas, some people keep their white lights up, and it really does lift people up. So it's the same kind of thing.
so my my point is, if it is too much for you to think that you might have any power in, oh my God, I want if I visualize the world I want, or I visualize the country I want, or anything like that, energetically create a connection, experience it that is what you want. And I said earlier, we're making little pockets that are connecting and connecting and connecting and connecting and connecting.
I mean, think about this. Think about a pink monkey, right? Okay, pink monkey, right? That's not that hard. Think about we have a great democracy that we've gotten through this. Just okay, happy people in the White House, right? It doesn't have to be complicated.
No, if you went to a rally, if you went to uh if you sorry.
A rally? Did you
Okay.
mean to say rally?
Yeah, I did mean it. If you went to one of Kamala's rallies,
Oh
if
yes,
you watched the Democratic National Convention,
yeah,
uh if you had uh a sense of hope and fun and just watching a vibe,
yeah.
remember that.
That's what I've
Remember
been
that.
telling people. Remember that energy didn't just dissipate and
No.
vanish. We're all still here, right? We're all still here. And I just on what you were saying about being with people prior to the election. We were talking about this. I went to Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween. There's like tens of thousands of people there, people dressed up, people dancing in the streets. There wasn't one incident. Law enforcement, the cops were there. They were laughing along with everybody else. They were talking to people. Everybody was having a great time. People were literally dancing in the freaking streets. Everybody was happy. Even when we got ready to go back on the train, it was like, how are you going to manage all these people, like hundreds of people heading back to the train? And everybody was so nice and so polite and so just peaceful. And it was so, I don't care what anybody says, we are heading in a really beautiful direction. And this that's going on with these dark monsters of human beings is to highlight them. We need to know what the problem is so that the problem can be dealt with. And, it's not easy to see it, but we don't have to invest all our mental energy into it. Before we sign off, I know that people want to know more about these cast of characters. So maybe we can just pick a couple that you are interested in just giving us a few words about. But I want to ask people first a little housekeeping. Please hit the thumbs up. We've got like half of the people here or less that have hit the thumbs up. We really do need that. So thank you. And please subscribe to this channel. One other sort of housekeeping thing is I'm going to have a meeting tonight here, live stream, 7 p.m. Eastern time, to talk about just kind of rebooting grassroots of democracy. I had hit the pause button prior to the election, but we need to get back on the horse somewhat. So I know we have to distract ourselves just to keep our peace of mind, but we also want to still be engaged in what we can do. So do you want to talk about any of the most obvious characters? And I mean, you did talk about Trump already. Thanks for hitting the thumbs up.
No, honestly, the U.S. I'll just throw the U.S. in.
Yeah,
This full moon is awakening the people in the U.S. chart,
it is. That's
awakening the
beautiful.
people, and Saturn is in a really easy, as it moves forward, it's in a really easy flow to the sun in the US chart. So this is a
Nice.
moment of a lot of things could become really clear to a whole bunch of people. And Biden's birthday is coming up next week, and his birthday
It's
chart
next week.
has his moon, his emotional driver, right on the US moon.
Huge. That's huge. Is it on the 20th? Is that his
I'm sorry,
birthday?
the US sun, the US sun. So just know that it may whatever things look like right now, plot twists, massive twists, huge plot twists. Things are not just going to go lockstep. They're just
Yeah.
not. They're not going to go lockstep. And they're the cosmic fog machine is really going and going and going. You may get a few glimpses of what's really going on, but maybe not, and maybe not for a while. So just
We have.
find your own, honestly, yes, find your own
I
little
had the whole movie in my head.
yes, we've been discussing that, but for more importantly, this is your life. This is your
Claim it.
life.
Claim it. Take
Find the
it.
people that you love, find the people that you love and do things with them.
And this is part of this is part of, we all chose to be here. This is part of your life. This is it. You have arrived at a pivotal point in our collective history. This is it. There's no turning back. So we have to make it good, right? We have to make it good. And Tom was still,
You have your own unique spirit. Express it. Find people. You know who you like being around. It's important to actually physically be around people. We've had
I
so
said
much
that
of
from the beginning. I said that since the election, the since Wednesday, and it was a pretty predominant message everywhere. I was really, it happens all the time, but I noticed I feel like I really need to be with people. Not, it's nice to talk to people on the phone that are far away, but I need to be in the physical presence of humans. And then I started reading it everywhere. Everybody was saying, call people and be with them, be together physically. We are being forced to love one another, and these MAGAs that are they're going to have a huge wake up call, are going to stop hating us. because we won't be the source of their discontent like they were lied to and told. Donald Trump said, "You knew I was a snake before you let me in." And that's going to be a lot of, swallowing people's pride that thought he was going to be all that and a cup of tea, and they're going to find out the total opposite. And they knew all along that he was a con and a scam artist, and he had nothing to offer anyone. I don't care about the trolls in the chat. I don't have the chat on, so I can't see it, but I know there were a couple that I love Donald Trump. Whatever. You have your own perception of things, but when you saw what he represented and what he represents, there is no redeeming light in that monster of a human being. I am not
And
being mean, I am observing.
this configuration right now is going to bring a lot to light and shake a lot of people up and wake a lot of people
Yeah,
up. So, get the
we're gonna have to
popcorn, make yourself a treat.
we're gonna have to be
Um,
gentle. We're gonna have to be really, really gentle.
be really nice to yourself. Know that people are on edge. Be mindful about what you walk into, right? So, like, don't get in a road rage war with anybody, and be selective about who you physically expose yourself to in the next week, especially this weekend, especially tomorrow. So, I'm going to a small dinner party, um, very small,
Tomorrow.
uh, and just you know how to
Yeah.
deal with the supporters in our lives. For right now, don't. Do not deal with the supporters in your lives. Just
The
don't
supporters? Oh,
engage.
you mean
Don't.
the Trump supporters, you mean?
Right.
I
Mhm.
do want to speak to that a little bit because I know a lot about cults. Is if anybody here has been loving throughout, even though their family member was a Trump supporter, you have an exponentially better chance of healing than those who have been really, really just. I mean, I understand the anger and the vitriol, and like the how could you support this man? I understand that. I just want everyone to know that those who have remained loving, like not talk about Trump, or they're going to have a much easier time when the cult delusion all crashes.
And we're
So
at a moment of really amazing exposure.
yeah,
So
and so it's not going to be easy. Some of them
mhm,
are going to go into some really, really dark emotions, and so
get
yeah,
your comfort
yeah,
dragon.
maybe buy them a cushy
Get your
dragon.
comfort dragon.
Maybe buy
He's
them
so
that. But
soft.
yeah, I mean, we're all going to need that. I just want to encourage people to go gentle because I know we're coming up on Thanksgiving. When is it? It's not next week. It's a week after.
Hmm.
When's Thanksgiving? Is
Was it
it?
the what? Is it the 25th,
It's the 28th. I see it now.
28th?
Um, and the sun will be in Sagittarius by that time. Yippee! So that'll be a little bit of a more optimistic time, I think. But I think it would be helpful for us to meet again before Thanksgiving because I know a lot of people are. Did you hear Jesse Waters' mother won't invite him to Thanksgiving dinner because it didn't fit the schedule? I mean, it's that kind of thing. But according to what I've sort of not like I follow Jesse Waters, he's such a monster. But as far as just seeing that his mother didn't stop speaking to him. She'd call into Fox and everything. So I'm just saying, it's going to be an interesting sort of homecoming. But I cannot stand Jesse Waters. But I just want to say about that, the chances that he'll be able to heal his, or just his mother will embrace him are pretty good because she said come the next day.
Well, now actually, let me throw one more thing in.
What?
We've got another plot twist coming up. Mercury, planet of communication,
Yeah.
rules the ballots, rules the vote, goes retrograde on the 25th
Oh, it
in
does.
Sagittarius, sign of
Oh,
politics, sign of foreign
I
countries.
see that. Yeah.
It goes retrograde until December 15th. So there'll be a lot of going back over. And it goes
Yeah.
retrograde on Trump's South Node and Moon, South Node's default behavior. So
Yeah. Something.
We'll be it's not the end of the story, folks,
And
okay?
the
So
police car, I just looked at when I left, there's the flashing blue lights just went by when you said that. I pay attention to those things. I do. So everyone be gentle. I think it's good to be back involved and making sure that we're keeping an eye on what's happening. So if, on that note, if people want to come join me tonight for a live stream at 7, just not for a terribly long time. I just want to brainstorm, toss around ideas, see what's on people's minds, what they'd like to do to create a strong democratic community virtually, and see if we can shift what's happening here. I don't see him in the White House. You don't see him in the White House. There's some amazing astrological aspects that you taught us about in Kamala's chart that put her there. We
but again, the playing out isn't anything any one of us can foresee. I
right,
want
but
you to
then
think about everything that has been connected with Trump's political career has completely blown up what the norm was. So
yeah,
everything. So the way this goes is going to go no one. I mean, I wouldn't even put it past aliens landing and taking him
yeah.
away. I mean, honestly, you cannot
We
possibly
could mic drop moment right there.
no, you cannot possibly
This is how it
envision.
ends. The
You cannot.
spaceship comes down and scoops up Mar-a-Lago, and he's gone forever. The rest of them
However,
too.
there is one thing I want to say. If you really are resisting or have trouble with the idea of, I don't have the power to envision anything on a geopolitical level, please do it in your own life. That will
Yeah, yeah,
also
that's true.
add, that's what I've been saying. That
Yeah,
way, you got it, Teresa. Uh, but that will also create more and more and more of
there's a
what
ripple
you want
effect.
in your life. So,
Yeah,
go be with people you care about, even if it's one person. I mean, on Monday, I was with a friend who says I'm one of the, 4 critical people in his life. And that's an amazing thing.
yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
wonderful?
Yeah. His
Yeah,
husband, his daughter, his best friend, and me. I was like, really? So,
that's what it's all about. I don't care what anybody says. That's it right there.
mhm.
All right, so next week a spaceship will come down and just suck them all
I
up,
was
and
just
we'll.
smarting off. I don't
No,
think
I know, I
we're not
know,
going to get off like
but
that,
but
but
I like that idea. um, it's been a pleasure. It always is.
always is.
We'll do it again. We'll probably make it a pop up so we're not feeling like really pressured and obligated to be a certain day, certain time. And also, if everybody please hit the notification bell, that gets people to hit their notification bell and check on that. Please make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube knocks people off for some nefarious reason. I don't know. Um,
I want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
My website,
Go ahead. Oh
for
yeah.
those of you new
I
people here
figured
who
that
are
everybody knows
non-trolls,
you by now.
my website is I'm Kathy Biehl. My website is empowermentunlimited.net, and I've got stuff all over the web. If you go to my YouTube channel, Professional Aquarian, and hit the about page, you'll get a list of everything. I have forecasts for every week, every moon, every month. I've got all kinds of stuff. So
Awesome. Yeah, sorry I was jumping off so quickly.
oh, no,
Uh,
no, I'm just taking care
yeah.
of myself. See, folks, just take care
Yes.
of yourself.
Yeah, so I'm going to take care of myself and say my work is dependent, continuing this is dependent on my doing readings, psychic readings. Go to psychicannetdion.com to book a reading. There's a special for new clients, special rate. And I'm also a spiritual life coach, and you can get a tea leaf reading. You can get a tranquil soul session, which is a half an hour. So check it out, psychicannetdion.com. And there's always more, but we have to end eventually. And tonight I'm going to have an impromptu kind of live stream, Grassroots of Democracy rebooted at 7 tonight. So join me for that. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and subscribing. Thank you, Kathy. We'll do it again real soon. Thank you for the
Okay.
$2, whoever donated that. All right. Bye. See you. Thanks.